When we think of the Indian independence movement and its freedom fighters, we often think of Gandhi, Sardar Patel, Bhagat Singh and the likes. One figure the collective conscience seems to forget is that of Subhas Chandra Bose, the man to lead India's first indigenous army. Subhas Chandra Bose was born on 23 January 1897 in Cuttack in the erstwhile Bengal Presidency of British India. After his BA, Bose went to England's Cambridge to prepare for the Indian Civil Service, but began having doubts on whether it was the best way to serve the country. And in 1921, just before his final exam, he withdrew from the ICS examinations. He returned to India in July 1921, all set to take a plunge into the Indian independence movement. A 24-year-old Bose met a 51-year-old Mohandas Gandhi, who was leading the non-cooperation movement, but the two differed on how to achieve India's independence. For Gandhi, non-violent means were non-negotiable, but to Bose, all means were acceptable for achieving independence. Initially, however, Subhas Chandra Bose decided to work within the ambit of the Congress and joined the party to foster nationalism amongst his fellow Indians. In 1939, Bose was elected Congress president against Gandhi's preferred candidate, Pattabhi Sitaramaiah. Seeing this as a defeat for Gandhi, members of the Congress refused to work with Bose and he was forced to resign. At the outbreak of World War II, Bose launched a campaign of mass civil disobedience. He was arrested but later released. Although he was kept under surveillance, Bose escaped from India and travelled to Europe and then to Japan, seeking assistance to overthrow British rule. In Japanese-occupied Asia, Bose took over the Azad Hind Fauj, which had been formed by Rash Bihari Bose. As World War II was coming to an end, Germany had brought the British Empire to its knees. While Mahatma Gandhi launched the non-violent Quit India movement, Indians continued to die in foreign lands fighting for the Brits. Bose saw an opportunity to align with the Axis powers to push the British out of India. He travelled to Berlin to seek Adolf Hitler's aid in liberating India from the British. Seeing the impractical distance between Germany and India, Hitler sent Bose to Japanese-occupied Singapore on Germany's infamous U-boat submarine. With Japanese support, Subhas Chandra Bose created United India's first indigenous army by mobilizing 45,000 Indian prisoners of war into the Azad Hind Fauj. Together, the Japanese and the Azad Hind Fauj fought the Allies and liberated Burma, today Myanmar, from British occupation. The emerging threat of an indigenous army, coupled with the losses at the end of World War II, forced the British to hastily leave India. On August 18, 1945, Bose is alleged to have been killed in a plane crash while travelling from Singapore to Japan. Bose had a unique view of how an independent India should be governed. He felt that the Indian populace wasn't ready for self-governing democracy and was deeply fascinated with the authoritarian ideologies of fascism and communism prevalent in Europe. He envisioned a synthesis of the two as a transitionary government to instill discipline in Indians and prepare them for self-governance. Given his public admiration of both fascism and communism, both the American CIA as well as the Soviet KGB could well have been behind his mysterious death in an alleged plane crash. One would think that such a man would be heralded as a national hero and that his legacy would be celebrated by an independent India. But that was not to be. Even after his death from 1948 to 1968, Congress governments spied on Netaji's family and even shared the surveillance info with the British government. It was only after 2014 that the Indian government declassified several files on Netaji and released them into the public domain. 3 islands of Andaman and Nicobar were renamed as a tribute to Netaji, and the Subhas Chandra Bose Museum was inaugurated at the Red Fort in 2019. As we remember the legacy of a great man neglected by our history books, we leave you with the invigorating quote that inspired many to join the Azad Hind Fauj. तुम मुझे खून दो, मैं तुम्हें आज़ादी दूंगा.